So now I'm going to show you how to, using your template, actually modify it a little bit, start to getting it looking a little bit nicer, starting to lay it out a bit more like you would, a proper web page, just so we can get our links lined up and our buttons lined up nicely, add some text content, and start to just, play around with our backgrounds, things like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to insert a table and put everything inside a table. This isn't the only way you can do things, but it's the quickest and easiest way to get some basic kind of layout options happening within a web page. Once you've gotten the hang of that, then you start to actually advance onto using CSS predominantly for creating better formatting and layouts, just because CSS is a little bit neater, but it is a little bit more complex. So tables are a great way to start off, and what I can do is I can come up into this toolbar in the top. If you can't see it, just be aware that any of your windows are going to be located under window in the menu. So if you can't find your insert window or your properties window, or something's missing, then just come up into window and just check that it's ticked. So I've got my insert window, and you can see here I'm just going to come into common and insert a table, and I'm going to have 3 rows and 3 columns. In this case, I can, with my table width, I could make it either pixels or a percentage. So I could make it 100% if I wanted to, which is often a great way to do general formatting with your table, because it allows it to be scaled up and scaled down based on the user's window, and the content's going to scale up and down based on that. Or you might do it, as 1,000 pixels and keep it sort of similar to what that banner size is. So it doesn't really matter too much with this. We've got border thickness, which I'm going to leave on for now. So I'm going to tick OK. So first thing I'm going to do is drag my buttons into that middle section. I've deliberately put it in that middle row so that I can actually put my Jim's Arcade banner in the top row, my navigation bar in the middle row, and then my content in the bottom row. So just drag them in. Now my top row, obviously it's divided into 3 cells, and I want to add a banner that actually takes over all of those 3 cells, so I don't actually want them split up like that. What I can do is I can come up here, get my arrow looking like that little black one on the side, click to select the whole three of those cells, and come down here and actually merge my cells together. And then that means that I can drag my banner into the top there, and then I can start to, delete that to get rid of that white space. Do the same thing with my bottom one so that I can actually add some text content in there a little bit later. There we go. And there's where I can add my text content. So again, I'm going to want to save it just to save my changes as I go. Now what I'm going to want to do is actually start to, make it look a bit nicer by playing around with my background. So I can change the background color. I can do that down in here, but that's probably going to actually affect my table cell. So, if I want to change the background of my cells, which are these, because that's where I'm currently selected, I can do that in my properties. If I want to change the whole background of the page itself, I can do that in page properties. I can also do it in my CSS up here, but just for the purpose of this, it's easy to do it in here. And it actually all uses CSS these days anyway. So I can do my background color, change that to black. I'm also going to change my text color to white, because obviously if I start typing inside my table or inside my page and I've got a black background, I'm not going to see that text. So I'm going to go and apply that and click OK. I can also decide to change my links here if I wanted to. So be aware that, your general links are going to be blue if they haven't been clicked. They're going to be red when you've actually got your mouse button selected down, when they're active, as you would call it. And then once they've been visited, they're going to go purple. So we could choose to leave those on default. I would recommend for a site like this that we change them, because purple and blue are not going to stand out very well on black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that. I'm going to make it a bright yellow for my actual links. And then when they're visited, I might make them, a grey. Make them mid-grey so we can still sort of see them, but they don't look as bright. And when they're active, I might make them white just to make them quite bright. I could choose to make rollover links as well, but I'm not going to worry too much about that, so I could keep it the same. If you don't select anything, it should just keep it the same as your link color. So there's all my links and my background, things like that happening now. So there we go. It says my page happening. If I want to start to actually fill around a little bit with my layout, I can also click on my image or click inside my cell, and I should be able to actually start to align it. So if I click on my image, I can align it to, where's the center gone? I think that's just going to do it. Let's just click inside the cell, and there we go. Let's just do it as a center align in there. So if I've got the image selected and I wanted to shift it based on the page, I could do that in the align, but just be aware that it's usually going to do left or right. It doesn't really do center that well, or if it does have center or middle, it's usually referring to the middle of the page rather than the center of a cell. So obviously I could do it to the right. I'm going to leave it default and just change it using my cell. Obviously I could leave it so it's left aligned as well. Depends on what I want. So let's just go ahead and save that and preview it out. And that's what it looks like. So there's my Jim's Arcade top bar. There's my home, games, and about. If I don't like that border, the last thing I'm going to show you now is it's really good to have the border on while you're designing your page, because it allows you to see what you're doing. But you know, if you don't actually like that, what we can do is we can select our whole table by clicking on the table, or if you find it hard to do that, if you come down here, see where it's got body, table, TR, TD, these are referring to your tags. So TD is your table cell, TR is your table row, so it'll select the whole row, and table is your whole table. So if you're having trouble, just click on table down the bottom, it should come up, and I can change that border to 0. And then once I do that, if I save it, you can see it's actually kind of got this like dotted line just indicating there's a table there, but nothing too heavy. And there's my layout starting to happen, and each of these should go to, you can see that they're going to the other pages that they need to. So there you go.